and action.
All right, today we will be briefing you on interest rate and currency rate swaps and how that will benefit GTC. I'm Ben.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Riley. So to start, we have our recommendation, and we have 4 recommendations. Our first one is we forecast savings of $80 million on interest rate payments. Our second one, we profit $100 million through facilitating swaps over the next 12 to 24 months. Our next one, we profit $120 million based on expectations of foreign currency markets by going short on depreciating currency and going long on appreciating currency. The trades we would recommend in order to do that would be to sell short on the depreciating currency and buy on margin for the appreciating currency. And then next we will create a fee for creating the swaps, and it'll be 100 basis points on the notional, and we'll be doing 5 contracts per year. So basically we will have 5 $100 million contracts. They'll be 3-year contracts. So you get $1 million per contract. So that would be $5 million over 3 years, or if they want to renew their contract, it would be $10 million over 6 years.
Just a little background. So our interest rate swaps between 2 counterparties that exchange a floating rate payments on the debt obligation of the fixed rate payment. So basic interest rate swaps is fixed. Is it before or fixed for floating? So essentially, one country, or say we're a business that was facilitating a swap. You have one people come in, they want an interest rate that someone else can get. That person will swap their interest rate for a counter interest rate, and they will go from there. Currency rate swaps are essentially the same thing. There's a middleman, swap bank, which essentially we will be, but we'll get into that later. And we facilitate a swap with one currency for another based on different exchange rates and other things like that.
So this is an interest rate swap. Generally, when it's the fixed or floating, the floating rate is the LIBOR, which is a fluctuating rate based out of London, but it kind of takes all the banks into consideration and bases their rate off of that. So the banks in the middle, you see that Company A and Company B are swapping rates because one has a comparative advantage in their market and the other has a comparative advantage in theirs. So basically, you would calculate a QSD, which the bank would do, which means there's a profit to be made, and subtracting whatever they have plus the QSD and they have plus the QSD, you basically would get a really small number like the 0.55. So they're paying LIBOR plus 0.55. That 0.55 is going into swapping, and that's the commission they're making through the swap. So currency swap, there's no swap bank in this specific one, but usually there's swap banks. The notional payment looks like it's about 100 million US dollars and 160 real because of the exchange rate. So basically, Company A will tell Company B that they're going to give them $100 million, but because of the exchange rate, they're giving 160 real. In turn, Company A has a competitive advantage, giving them a 4% interest rate. Company B gives a 5% interest rate, compared to getting like a 7 or 6 in their own domestic market.
So for GTC as a swap bank in the use of QSDs, swap banks can either be brokers or dealers when facilitating swaps. So they're in the middle, as Matt said before. And as a broker, they have no risk and they match counterparties, and they make money off the commission from the swap. So they have no interest in it other than they're making commission and setting up these swaps for the 2 parties to use. And then if they're the dealer, which assumes a position in the swap and bears the risk, they make money by receiving a portion of the cash flows. So then QSDs are a necessity in making these swaps. QSDs are quality spread differentials, and so basically the differential between the 2 default risk premiums is what you find. So they're calculated by finding the difference between default risk premiums between the 2 rates involved in the swap. In order to have an overall good swap, the quality spread differential has to be positive.
So recommendation 1, which is that we will save $80 million over the next 12 to 24 months. That's basically calculated by thinking that we won't have to pay higher rates, so our payments will be lower. So say we have a 7% interest rate that we can get, but say that someone else can get a 5% interest rate, we're gonna swap with them, so that's gonna save us whatever, debt obligations we have, but you get to subtract the 2%. So over the next 12 to 24 months, we basically predicted that we'll save about $80 million in debt obligations.
So as a swap bank, we need to be the broker or the dealer, and this just depends on how we wanna mitigate our risk. As a broker, we can make commission, and as a dealer, we would assume the position in the swap. So, you know, as being the dealer, or as being the broker, as Matt pointed out earlier, we can make commission based on percent of it's being transferred. So I think it was 0.55 in the example that you used, so we make 0.55% of, you know, the $100 US or the 100 million US dollars, 160 million real. The dealer bears more risk but can profit more from this. Therefore, and that's based on our recommendations of how the market will go up or down in either currency or interest rates. And with doing so, we forecast a profit of about $100 million over the 12 to 24 month period.
Our third recommendation, which was going long and short on the swap. So not only can you facilitate a swap as a swap bank, you can also go long or short based on your expectation. It gets, maybe there's a little gray area where you might facilitate a swap to someone and know that it's going to go short, but still you're going to facilitate it. So you can kind of make double profit on that. So based on our expectations of the market and going long on appreciating currencies and going short on depreciating currencies, we think that we'll profit about $120 million by going long and short on swaps that we facilitate.
So once again, to reiterate our recommendations, we're going to forecast the savings of $80 million on interest rate payments. We're going to profit $100 million through facilitating swaps over the next 12 to 24 months. And we're going to profit $120 million based on expectations of foreign currency markets by going short on depreciating currency and going long on appreciating currency. And then once again, we will have a fee for creating the swaps, 100 basis points on the notional, 5 contracts per year, 5 million over 3 years, and 10 million over 6 years.
Just real quick to clarify the last one with the fee creating, that's basically what the broker would do. That's them getting commission off of the contract that